Let me take this across to my guests on the broadcast this evening on Viewpoint. Sujata Paul of the Congress Party is with us. Also with us is Sushant Sareen, who's a senior fellow ORF. Also joining us is Colonel S. Dinny, who is an army veteran. We, of course, are also waiting for a member of the Bharatiya Janata Party to be with us on the broadcast. But let me begin with you, Sujata. Considering this is an escalation of attack by Rahul Gandhi in the name of his Ladakh visit, he's constantly raising these allegations against the government at the centre of the ceding of land by China, and they've come far into the Indian territory. On what basis are these claims being made, Sujata?
You heard what Rahul Gandhi said. He said that he is speaking to the people of Ladakh, and this is what they are saying, and this is absolutely true. Because if you look at the context in which this is being said, it is the Prime Minister's statement that na koi ghusa hai, na koi ghusa hua hai, na hamara post kisi ke kabze mein hai. And if you remember, when he said that, the next day, the then Defence Minister Rajnath Singh gave a statement and mentioned how clashes had happened in the Galwan Valley. However, I'd like to draw your attention to the Nyoma Block Development Council chairperson. Her name is Urgen Chodon. And she has been saying that the Chinese have been crossing across to our land and taking control of our land since May 2019. And this is proved by her Facebook post. She resides over there. She's not an ordinary person. She is a Block Development Council chairperson. We will not believe her. What she said was that the Chinese PLA soldiers had entered 6 kilometers into Indian territory, and this was a post that he shared 4 days before the clash happened. And this was a post not from that year, that is not from 2020, but 11 July 2019. She went on to give lots of examples, but I want to understand why is it that 4 days before the Air Force Day last year, on October 4, the Chief of Air Staff, Air Chief Marshal B.R. Chaudhary, what did he say? That our aim is to ensure that there is status quo ante that has to be achieved. And this was in response to the Chinese envoy saying that all is well and everything was okay and there was no problem. However, there is one more point I would like to understand. Why is it that there are talks happening? There are 19 rounds of Corps Commander talks which have already taken place. What is that for? Is it just in air? Are we trying to say that we are just engaging with the Chinese because there is no problem on the LAC? Now, if you look at all the all the things that have been mentioned, there were 3 places that were mentioned as problem areas due to the incident of June 2020. And what are these areas? The Depsang Bulge, the patrolling point over there, 15, and of course, Deb Chowk. So are these being spoken of in air? What happened in Russia the same year? Why were we talking to the Chinese over there when we had the SCO meeting happening over there? The Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, this was all in the public domain. This is nothing to hide. And when people of Ladakh are saying it, Rahul Gandhi has been there for quite a few days now. He's meeting people. Why is it that the government wants to hide this? This is a national security issue, and this should be discussed in a special session of the parliament. Why can't the Prime Minister do that?
Okay, all right. Sujata, we would have a member of the Bharatiya Janata Party to respond to these claims that you are making. But meanwhile, this entire point that you have raised vis-a-vis the statements that have come by way of senior stakeholders in the Ladakh area, I'd let Colonel Dinny to join us on the broadcast and just offer more perspective. Colonel Dinny, how do you read these very statements, considering Rahul Gandhi, while in Ladakh, is attributing the information that he's received from the locals over there? The Chinese have ceded into the Indian territory, something that has been kept away from the Indians by the Prime Minister himself.
Ma'am, see, we must understand that a purely national security issue has become a purely political issue.
Yes.
So unfortunately, even if I want to give a perspective, I will be branded as politically inclined towards one side or the other. The fact of the matter is that this is a issue which has not come in 2020 or 2019 or before that. It has been there for a very long time, and the basic problem is that the border is not demarcated. There is no border. There is no border either on the map or on the ground. So there will be problems. So that is the first thing which people, I think, conveniently forget. As far as the transgressions have happened, I think it has been happening throughout. It is not the first time again happening. But what is different This time, and that is what the status quo ante what we all are talking about, is the quantum of troops which have come from the Chinese first, and then followed by us.
Yes.
There is almost 60,000 troops facing each other in the Aksai Chin area. That is the status quo, which is in a large manner, which has changed. This quantum of troops have never been there. Then there were 7 friction points which were there post April 2020, the clashes which happened in Pangong. So after which there were 7 areas which had to be resolved. 5 areas that has been resolved. But there are 2 areas in Demchok and Depsang which has still not been resolved. And the reason why is that we, as the Indians, and as I understand from the from local sources or from troops on ground, is that they are, and I'm saying this because one has done that on ground.
Yes.
That we don't give away, okay, please come inside and now we'll go back. That is not the way Indian army functions. Otherwise, there is no point in the Indian army being there. The fact that 3 years on we've continued the talks after talks means that we are wanting to get to a negotiation with a result in our favor, in a manner in which is in bias towards our claims.
No,
not
but
to bias
Colonel
towards
Dinny, I'm
Chinese.
really sorry to interrupt you. I just want to bring in the point that member of the Congress party was making here, that why is the conversation only being initiated by India? At least that is what the claim has been made. It's attributed to what the Chinese are saying, something that's been denied by the Indian side. But this conversation after conversation, these core commander level talks that have been happening, very, very rampant so, and the fact that on the sidelines of BRICS summit, the 2 leaders from India and China also really engaged. However, these 2 crucial points of de-escalation that's required, especially in Depsang and Demchok, that was completely, done away with, that there was no conversation about the same. Why so? And how are we supposed to move forward if that is not being discussed?
See, ma'am, what we must understand is that the requirement for dialogue is not one-sided.
Yes.
It can never be one-sided.
Yes.
It has to be both sides. And I'll give you a technical point of view also. See, the moment we ask for a meeting, it is held in our side of Trishul, the BPM hut which is there, the border postal meeting hut. That is where. When they ask for it, it is held on their side. Now, if you just take out the records, how many times it has been held there and how many times it has been held here, it will be very convenient, and the facts are on ground that it has been both sides. Both sides talk, and that is the mechanism. It's not happening now. It has been throughout from 90s, early 90s. That is the way it is, that whenever there is an issue, both sides reach out and they speak to each other at various level, at brigade commanders level, major general level, and now at the corps commander level. Okay. 19 rounds of corps commander level, what it has given is that there has been no violence after the June 2020 violence which happened in Galwan. Isn't that a small thing? I mean, two large armies are eyeball to eyeball, and the fact that the corps commander level generals are speaking to each other means that there is there's a semblance of peace and tranquility. I'm not saying that there is complete thing, but at least there is a sense that the commanders are speaking. So there is an understanding that there is a line.
But I still want to get the terminology right over here, and the kind of statements that have come out time now. Sushant,